Whenever you are.
So I'm Amy Jennings and this is my husband Robert Fish. Today we are talking about my stroke journey and the speech disorder aphasia. I suffer from aphasia because of the stroke. On 6th of September, was it? What are you doing?
2013.
13, I had a brain hemorrhage. This was due to AVM bursting. I was only 32. I was born with an AVM.
And AVM's arteriovenous malformation.
AVM is fine.
One of them things.
Yeah, exactly. The AVM is an alpha mountain connecting between arteries and veins, bypassing the capillary systems. This results in a weakness which that can lead to a hemorrhage. The chance of a brain hemorrhage bleeding is 1 to 2% every day. Year, sorry. So, to me, the clock was been ticking all my life. Prior to my stroke, I was an accountant before in Costa Tuncurry. I was a CPA qualified and I was going to be made a partner. That was until I had a stroke. I had a really bad headache that morning. I felt like it's a hangover. Exactly. My life changed in an instant. I was taken to Taree-based hospital by ambulance. Then I went the helicopter to John Hunter Hospital in Newcastle. I was fighting for my life, but I can't remember.
Probably a good thing.
Exactly. About 10 days I basically slept whilst the brain swelling reduced. The John Hunter Hospital had a brain surgery to remove this AVM. After my two weeks at John Hunter Hospital, I went to Rankin Park. Rankin Park is like a hospital rehab unit. I was there till 6 weeks. At the time, I could not speak whatsoever, write, understand numbers, or read or. That is why I was in a foreign country, but I didn't know what is the language. Imagine that. I could not move my right or arm. Thankfully, I could able to walk within a month or two. I was like a child walking from the first time, and I was not happy jam. At Rankin Park, I was naked, vulnerable, and I could not speak. I was really down and really depressed for the rest of 2014. We had to decide what was best for me, not that I could remember. We took about advice and I went to the brain injury service where is at Bar Beach in Newcastle. I stayed there about 8 months. There I did more intensive rehab and my speech improved. At the time, I did not know what aphasia was. My therapist told me about it and I started to understand my problems. Aphasia. What is aphasia? It was explained to me that was my brain is like a filing cabinet, but all of the files are a mess. You can't get files, so you can't find the words you want. It's called, it was explained to me as loss of language, not intelligence. The definition of aphasia is the loss of previously held ability to speak or understand verbally and words or written words due to damaged or injuries to the brain. Did you know only 7% of the population knows what aphasia is? Plus, there is over 140 Australians who have affected by a stroke.
140,000.
Sorry, was it?
That's right.
You say
140,000 Australians are affected by aphasia.
It's just
Yet
a
only
number.
it's
7%.
just a number.
Only 7% actually know what it is.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Yes. Whoa. Not everyone disability is. Sorry, I'll start again. Not every disability is invisible. Robert will talk about aphasia in more detail.
Just a few things, just to detail what or explain aphasia a bit further. A more detailed definition of it is that aphasia is an inability to comprehend and formulate language because of damage to specific regions of the brain. To be diagnosed with aphasia, at least one of 4 communication issues will exist. These 4 are auditory comprehension, verbal expression, reading and writing, and functional communication.
That's me.
So Amy fits a couple of those boxes, that's for sure. Depending on which of these 4 communications issues is a problem, there are different types of aphasia that people can have. So the first one is expressive aphasia, and that's characterised by the loss of the ability to produce language. So that's what Amy has, in that she has difficulty to find words and obviously to speak them out. So a person with expressive aphasia will find it quite hard to talk, and their speech may only include important content words and leave out insignificant words. So when Amy speaks, she often forgets the connecting words. She'll say the main words, but there won't be anything to bring them together. So you've got to understand the main words that she's saying. So the person may still be understood, but the sentences will not be grammatically correct. In severe forms of expressive aphasia, a person may only be able to speak only a single word or utterances. Expressive aphasia is also known as broker's aphasia, and that's because it's caused by damage to the broca's area of the brain. Another type of aphasia is receptive aphasia, which is also known as Wernicke's aphasia. And this is the type of aphasia where an individual is unable to understand language in its written or spoken form. Even though they can speak okay typically, they have difficulty expressing themselves meaningfully through speech. People with receptive aphasia are typically unaware of how they are speaking and do not realise their own speech may lack meaning. When experienced with broker's aphasia, the patient may display global aphasia, so a combination of broker's and Wernicke's aphasia
And that's,
comes to global aphasia.
yeah, that's so hard
Very hard.
for them.
Yeah, very hard to understand and communicate.
Yeah.
Another condition that might be associated with aphasia is a person may have apraxia. A person with apraxia has impaired volitional control of speech, which makes it difficult to move their lips or their tongue to the right place to produce words. So the messages from the brain to the mouth are disrupted, and they have inability to formulate the words out of their mouth.
Thanks, Robert. We did a lot of speech, physio and OT therapy at Bar Beach. I probably did over 20 hours of therapy a week. I tried to keep busy. I struggled with fatigue though. My speech got slowly improved, but it was very unreliable though. So, for example, I answered the question and I would say no, but I really meant yes.
That's a yawn.
Yep. Yep. I didn't know the wrong word was having come out of my mouth. So I got my license in April 2015. I bought a car and modified it. I was no longer housebound. My therapist told me I had to integrate back into the community. This is not so simple though. Just going to the shops is a challenge if I have aphasia. People with aphasia typically lack confidence. I started attending the Maitland Aphasia group where about 20 to 30 people meet each week. That was a blessing. I met a lot of people there, young and old, that has aphasia. I was greatly to talk to people that had the same difficulty with speech that I had. I even met someone with the same disability as me and the same age. I'm a strong survivor from aphasia awareness. Advocate, sorry. It's my goal to beat this one day.
Keep to.
Exactly. Then I've been helping a couple of stroke survivors who have severe aphasia. They only can say a couple of words at a time. Communication is very hard for them. We practice words, numbers, word finding exercises, and only other things on the apps on the iPad. For myself, I still do speech pathologist every day. I had a speech pathologist and we do a session fortnightly. I had a couple of uni students that do speech practice with me every week. I do all of this from Skype, which works really well. I do reading exercises through the library. I can read okay, but looking at the page, my reading out loud is another thing. I almost jumble the words or get stuck for the particular word. You can probably see that throughout this speech. I am getting better at reading out loud now. When I read a book, I borrow the audiobook and the hard copy. I follow the pages in the hard copy as the audiobook reads aloud. When I try to write a sentence down, this is very difficult for me. Just saying the words is hard enough, let alone writing the words down. To help with that, I use the voice recognition on the phone to help me write the sentences down. I simply type the answers into the phone, then I am able to write it down or make improvements of it. Sometimes I say a jumble of words. Those of you having been spoken to me, you've probably seen this. It's important for me to get the message across. I still feel like I'm improving every day. It's worth putting the effort in. I didn't want to put up with the communication problems that I have for the rest of my life. I have now some research about plasticity, neuroplasticity. So,
neuroplasticity.
These big words.
yeah, exactly. This is about the brain path, finding new pathways around the damaged cell sections. The pathways pick up the functions of the damaged areas. My experience is that if I really would, it's terrible. My experience is that if I could really try hard on something, I can get some improvements. I also hope that as the medical breakthroughs, that will help me to get down the track. I know there is researching done on stem cells technology. This is about use stem cells to generate new brain cells pathways, population to repair brain damage.
So stem cells are about generating new brain cells, which can then replace the damaged brain cells.
Yeah.
It's
You've
technology for the future.
Just means you're going to grow a bigger head to hold the extra brains.
Yeah. It's huge.
Grey matter, yeah.
I have.
Because quite right.
Yeah. I have 10 top tips for talking with aphasia start again. I had 10 top tips for talking with people about aphasia. So, 1, most people with aphasia can improve. 2, finding the right words is really frustrating. 3, don't rush, be patient, slow down. 4, give me time to think and talk. Don't erupt. Yeah, see, Robert does. Shut up! He's talking. Sorry out. Look at his kindness. Oh, it's annoying. 5, aphasia is isolating and can make you vulnerable. 6, aphasia can build your confidence. 7, aphasia can change friendships. But that's a good thing. 8, social interaction is important. 9, it's bloody hard. Don't look the other way and ignore me. It's really irritating when that happens. I am still a human being. 10. We need more awareness and understanding into the community, and aphasia is not contagious, so talk to us. If you can't, you are, if you're talking to someone with aphasia, please keep this in mind. I hope I have been every week, everyone understands aphasia a bit more. Thank you.
Thank you.